Emily's changed quite a bit since the last time you saw her. When I was pouring, well, I wasn't pouring because some people think you just pour the rubber on, I wish. When I was dripping the rubber down and I was having to blow it into her eye sockets and all the undercuts so that we weren't getting any air bubbles in it. She has now had 35 kilos of rubber put on. The first coat painted on, the second coat painted on, and from then on I use a spatula and a knife, and the reason it's that colour is that's the fast acting catalyst that I use, which means that it's a bit worrying sometimes when it's starting to go off and I know I've still got big areas to do. Anyway, she's more or less done. You will see that the seams are tidied up in quite a lot of areas. Not finished yet, got a few more hours work to do. There are holes in the seams. That is so when I put the resin on, they're known as keyholes, I have to make sure the resin goes in there and they act like press studs and the finished mould, because the mould will, if you can imagine, this will be that side up with the rubber inside and that holds it firm on so it doesn't peel in and you will get a good impression. So you will see lots and lots of seams. This is the main seam. That's a true seam. So that comes off there, and I have to cut down with a scalpel. Lost my scalpel. Cut down with a scalpel. Dangerous implement there. This is for making the holes. So I shall have to make a hole here. Don't know if camera can see me doing this, but to cut down till I get to the photo underneath and it pops out there, new hole. I have to keep it sharpened. I have to go that all the way around. Now this seam here is known as a false seam, as is the one that's going down her skirt is a false seam, and there are 2 false seams on that arm. This arm's got away with only having real seams. That's very complicated. A false seam only has the jacket as the seam. The jacket then comes apart. I don't know if you can see the skirt, and imagine if I tried to take the whole of that skirt off in one piece, it wouldn't come off. She would have to then be on display in Epsom just wearing the rubber and the resin, because you would never get it off again. So this means this can come off that direction and the other comes off in that direction. They're put together again. This is a true seam, so the skirt then will fit into the 2 pieces of jacket once they're bolted back in together again. This is another section of mould with a false seam. Again, so I can get the jacket off, this part of the jacket will come off like that. There's another false seam here, so they've got a small section comes off here. Not that it's complicated in any way. And you'll notice with her face, she's looking sideways, but I had to fill in with rubber, so there's a huge amount of rubber on that side of her face, because when I look at a piece, if I can't see round the corner, it's not coming out of the mould. So I couldn't see round that corner because her face was like that, so it had to be filled in so that it's a nice smooth shape for the jacket, which is going to be very hard, very difficult to get off, will come off all in one piece. What else have I got to tell you? Yes, I think anybody wants to come along and help me do this, that's fine. Next job, once I've finished preparing, doing all the holes and tidying up, because it's all got to be cut neatly and not in a mess. That's not too bad there. Put the resin on, that's several more days work. But 8 days it's taken me to do this rubber. And some people think I just get a bucket of rubber and pour it over. I wish. We're now moving through to doing the resin. This has had 2 coats of resin so far. It's dry, don't worry. So you can see it's pretty rough looking at this stage. It's probably got about 3 or 4 more coats to have on it. And in those coats I'll put sheets of fiberglass, which will be overlapped and laid on. The knobbly bits here that you see sticking out are blob bits which I cast in the rubber and put onto the rubber. those are key points. They will hold it into the mould because it's quite a large area in the back, and I don't want it flopping around and not staying true inside the mould when we're trying to cast it. Again, there's no undercuts, not many anyway, not any that's going to, you can see I've already backfilled there, so that'll come off nicely. Here is where I'm going to be drilling to put the bolts in, so that's got to be fairly strong. I don't want that splitting because it's got to key through to both sides. So extra fiberglass and that fiberglass sheeting and make it all very, very strong. And then that's an easy one. That's just a one piece back, not like the front, which is, I haven't counted how many, but there's hundreds. And the skirt is also in another single section. Easy peasy this side. Not so the back. Anyway, watch this space. Next time you see her, she's going to be covered in resin. And this is what Emily looks like, completely covered in resin and fiberglass mould. Another week of very long hours that she's done. Very complicated. I'm just hoping that it's all going to come apart okay. Apparently, sometimes it doesn't, and all you're left with is this. But this might look quite good, I think, in Epsom, but not quite what Epsom are expecting. So it's fingers crossed time from now on. As you can see, I've drilled some holes already. I've got one more to go here, and then I can start work on taking just the back off, which I'm hoping to be able to show you today. Complicated seam arrangement, hope you can see that. Extra false seams, that is seams that I don't have to cut through the rubber, but it's just to get the jacket off, okay. That's the hand that's with her fingers very complicated. I'm hoping that's going to come apart. Hope I'm going to get the skirt. There's a lot of hope going on here, which I try not to take to bed with me, otherwise I won't even sleep at night. But anyway, now I'm going to drill a hole here, and then we'll have fun taking the back off, I hope. So I'm going to get the drill and get on with doing that. Now this is the last hole in the back. Excuse the noise, please. And it might take a while to get through. If you see lots of smoke, it's because it's going to burst into flames in a minute. Not an easy job. Not even halfway through the first side yet. Ah, we're through. There. That was exciting, wasn't it? Now is the time to take the back off. Soon. First of all, I've got to find out where the edge... Oh, you'll see how very neat and tidy it is all the way around here. It was really awful. I've had to cut all that neat and tidily so that we can see the two halves and we can see where the photos are there. Where the photos are, I put this in and I bash it, but not thwacking like that, just gently, gently. This is probably the one that's not going to work just because I'm on camera. Try there then. Gently, gently. There she goes. Don't know if you heard that splitting noise. Just quite good. There it is again. Right. It's opening up very, very slightly, and I've got to do that all the way along. Terribly interesting filming work, this. Thing to do is have to hold this very gently, and it follows the line of where the photo is, rather than hacking away and damaging the seams. So very gently. Come on, Emily, make a big cracky noise, please. we are, splitting quite nicely along there. I'll just do one more. Oh, did you hear that? Right. As with watching paint dry, I won't expect you to watch me do all the way around, so I will speak to you a little bit later. As you can see, this is not a 5-minute job. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer than 5 minutes. But what I've been doing is opening the seam. We've got the jacket, that's one piece. We've got the rubber, which at the moment is joined to the other rubber. And you can remember the little holes that I put into the rubber, which act as key holes to the jacket. So the jacket is actually keyed into the rubber. At the moment, I need to get those keyholes undone, but we've got the photos which I use to make the shims with, and they're all sort of glued together and they're glued to the resin and they're getting in the way, and that's what I'm trying to get the photos out of the way. I don't need them anymore. Now, don't know whether you can see in there, you can see the rubber that's there, piece of rubber, that is the back. So I've managed to prise it off the jacket, that little bit there. I've got to do the same all the way around it by putting my head in camera and see what I'm doing. Oh, can you see that? Oh, here's a good example of it getting stuck. Right, so that's stuck there, so I've got to prise it off its keyhole there, just popped undone then. And also I have to be very careful it doesn't decide to close over and trap my fingers. It's all right if I've got somebody else in the studio, but if I'm all alone I could be here for hours and not be getting on with any work. We're nearly there. This is the exciting bit. Oh. Oh, oh, oh. Ta-da! That's what the resin jacket looks like. That's what she looks like from the inside. I don't know if you can see the sticky up things. They fit into the holes in the rubber, which you probably can't see the holes in the rubber now because the camera's over there. And anyway, these are the holding in things. That's why she had the blobs in her back. Fit into there to hold her firm when she's there. It's very heavy and prickly. So I'm going to put it down over here. Ow. Whew. Next job is getting rid of all the bits of photograph between the two bits of and the staples, and then I've got to get a scalpel and I've got to very carefully cut between the mould, that mould, and the rubber, because this is glued to the rubber that's inside there. So this could take some time, so talk amongst yourselves while I get on and do this.